Hey everyone, today, we're going to discuss an interesting topic, how the number of voters has increased, but they're not sure about Biden running after the recent debate with Trump. So let's dive right in and see what's changed since the last debate. After the most recent presidential debate, it seems that more voters are jumping on board, and they're questioning Biden's qualifications for running. They also have concerns about his mental fitness and his ability to handle a demanding presidential position. I must admit, I was initially a Biden supporter, but after seeing him stumble through the debate stage, I now have serious doubts about his suitability for the job. His demeanor is just not presidential material. This isn't just my opinion. A recent poll conducted by Fox News shows that over 60% of voters aren't confident in Biden's health or stamina for the office. Furthermore, nearly 70% think he was outperformed by Trump during the debate. So, what does this mean for the upcoming election? It seems like more voters are leaning towards Trump due to their concerns about Biden's fitness for office. This could potentially make Trump's re-election campaign even stronger than before. We shall see how this plays out in November. Topic of cognitive health was a big one in this debate. For months before the first debate, the nation's voters repeatedly expressed doubts over whether President Biden had the cognitive health enough to serve as our commander-in-chief. During that historic debate, we saw that those concerns were valid. It seemed like Joe Biden was in a completely different world than his opponent. It was almost as if they were discussing entirely different issues. Even after the debate was over, President Trump claimed victory and said he outperformed Joe Biden by a wide margin in terms of both stamina and overall performance. But then came Biden's response: "I can barely remember what I said 5 minutes ago." Ouch. So, there you have it, folks. The first presidential debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump certainly raised some questions about Joe Biden's cognitive health. We're going to delve into the world of history and discuss one of the most notorious monarchs in British history, King Charles II. Now, King Charles was a man who truly had it all: crown, fortune, and beauty. But did you know he faced a significant challenge? His popularity was on the decline. By 1660, those doubts had grown even more. Now at nearly 3/4 of the electorate, and now including many within his own party, it's mind-blowing to think that even his own supporters began to doubt him. But what made King Charles so unpopular? Well, it seems that people couldn't quite trust him anymore. They believed he was too lax on punishment for his enemies, and was overly fond of his favorites. He even managed to alienate some of his most loyal supporters. Isn't history just full of surprises? It's fascinating to see how people from different eras dealt with challenges and popularity issues. 2024 presidential debate between President Biden and former President Trump. Now, after the debate, it seems that more voters are questioning whether President Biden should even be running for re-election. You might be surprised to hear that a recent poll revealed that a whopping 81% of Republicans believe that Trump should be the GOP's nominee for the 2024 election. However, when it comes to our dear president, after the debate with Trump, an increased number of voters, including many Democrats, don't think Mr. Biden should be running for president at all. Nearly half of his party doesn't think he should be the nominee anymore. It's interesting to see how these debates can influence public opinion and make people question the candidate's fitness for office. We're diving into a recent survey that's making waves. According to a poll conducted by the New York Times and Siena College, only 26% of registered voters in the US believe that Joe Biden shouldn't be running for re-election in 2024. That might not sound like a significant number, but let's take a closer look. What's interesting about this poll is that it involves both Republican and Democratic voters. While a considerable 71% of Republicans think Biden shouldn't run again, the stats are quite different for Democrats. A whopping 73% of Democrats think he should stay in office for another term. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Biden's approval ratings have been on the rise among both parties, and this poll was conducted just after Independence Day weekend. It also comes shortly after President Biden officially announced his candidacy earlier this month. So there you have it, folks. Keep an eye on these numbers as the 2024 presidential race heats up. We're diving into a fascinating topic: most voters who say Trump shouldn't run for president in 2024 cite reasons other than his 2016 campaign. So, let's get started. Interestingly enough, most voters who say Trump shouldn't run for president in 2024 don't necessarily have issues with his 2016 campaign. Instead, they voice concerns about his effectiveness in office and the problems that arose during his tenure. One voter even shared that they voted for Trump in 2016, but now realize he wasn't the best option. They believe he was a wild card and didn't have the skills or experience to be an effective president. Another voter expressed their disappointment with Trump's presidency, highlighting all the problems that emerged under his administration. They also mentioned that he wasted opportunities to do good things for the country. So there you have it, folks. It seems that most voters who oppose Trump's potential 2024 presidential run are focusing on his performance in office rather than his previous campaign. We're going to dive into a hot topic: Trump's potential 2024 presidential run and the concerns of the GOP. So, let's get started. As you may have heard, the Republican National Committee has officially approved a resolution to reinstall Trump as their party leader. But here's the thing: most GOP politicians are actually keeping their distance from this decision. Why, you ask? Well, let me explain. Many Republicans have concerns about Trump's campaigning abilities more than his actual decision-making as president. They worry that his aggressive style might alienate voters and make it harder for them to win crucial elections in 2024. And remember, we're not talking about mere personal preferences. These are genuine concerns about the party's success and future. So there you have it, folks. The GOP is worried about Trump's campaigning tactics and how it could affect their chances of winning in 2024. It seems like they want to give him a platform to voice his opinions, but at the same time, they want to focus on what really matters: winning elections and keeping their party strong. We have some interesting news to discuss about the 2024 elections and the current state of the Republican Party. So, let's dive right in. Donald Trump, who is currently leading in national polls for the 2024 presidential race, has found himself facing growing criticism after making a series of controversial remarks about Ukraine and Iran. But despite this, he seems to be gaining momentum among Republicans. You see, while Trump is gaining ground among Republicans in key GOP primaries across the country and gathers more support every day, DeSantis appears to be stagnating at a respectable 18%. However, by contrast, DeSantis finds a wide view among Republicans that he should be running. A recent poll revealed that 73% of Republican voters believe DeSantis would make an excellent candidate if Trump decides against running for re-election. Interestingly enough, nearly half of these voters, 47% to be precise, would still choose Trump over DeSantis even if both were running. It's essential to remember that these figures are just national averages and may vary in specific states. We're diving into the world of politics and taking a look at a fascinating study that compared the 2016 and 2020 presidential debates involving none other than our former president, Donald Trump. So let's get started. Now, here's an interesting tidbit. A study conducted by the University of Pennsylvania has revealed that voters actually believe Trump came out on top during both debates. In fact, they felt he presented his ideas more clearly and appeared more presidential in both matches. But wait, there's more. They also thought Trump inspired more confidence, explained his policies better, and let's face it, just plain won the debates. So what does this mean? It seems that despite all the controversy surrounding Trump's debates with Joe Biden in 2020, many voters still considered him the winner. And this could have a significant impact on how they cast their ballots come election day. We're diving into a fascinating discussion about the results of a recent poll that asked voters what they thought about President Biden's first 100 days in office. Now, here's an interesting twist. Although most voters gave Biden lower marks than they did to Obama at the same point in his presidency, voters overall thought that Biden was less truthful than Obama was. But hold on, let's take a closer look at what those specific voters had to say. A group of 43% of Biden voters believed he was more truthful than Obama, while another 45% said they thought Obama was more truthful. Interestingly, only 12% of those who voted for Trump believed that Biden was more truthful. So, what does this all mean? It seems like there's a mixed bag of opinions when it comes to the truthfulness of both presidents. It's definitely food for thought. We're going to dive into a fun and delicious recipe: rainbow pancakes. This colorful breakfast treat is perfect for kids and adults alike, and it's incredibly easy to make. So, let's get started. For this scrumptious breakfast, you'll need a stack of pancakes, red food dye for the cherry on top, green food dye for the sprig of mint, and yellow food dye for the sun. And don't worry, no eggs are involved in this recipe. To create this mouth-watering masterpiece, simply follow these steps. 1. Dye your pancakes using the red, green, and yellow food dyes. 2. Assemble your pancakes to form a rainbow on a plate. 3. Top your masterpiece with a cherry and a sun. 4. Finally, serve up this colorful wonder to your loved ones, or treat yourself to this delicious breakfast. And there you have it, rainbow pancakes that are sure to bring a smile to everyone's face. Give this recipe a try and let us know how it turned out in the comments below. We're diving into an interesting topic: how people consume information during a political debate, specifically comparing those watching live versus those catching up on highlights. Interesting, right? Now you might think that those who watch the debate live would have a different perspective compared to those who watch highlights or coverage later on. But here's the twist. It turns out that the views are quite similar no matter when you tune in. This could suggest that people are consuming information in different ways these days, rather than simply watching from start to finish. This trend seems to be more about convenience and accessibility, such as watching while cooking dinner or doing other tasks around the house. It's all about fitting in as much as possible without sacrificing quality. So, whether you're a live viewer or a highlights enthusiast, remember that we're all in this together, trying to stay informed in the most convenient and efficient ways possible. We're exploring the latest polls and what they're telling us about the upcoming midterm elections. So, let's dive right in. According to new polls, voters are not impressed with President Biden's first year in office. In fact, 52% of those surveyed believe his administration has had a negative impact on the country. And while voter approval for Trump has dropped since 2020, Trump still ranks higher than Biden on the question of financial well-being. But what does this mean for the midterms? Well, Republicans are feeling pretty confident about their chances of winning the House of Representatives in November. In fact, 73% believe they'll emerge victorious compared to just 10% who think Democrats will hold on. On the Senate side, however, there's some uncertainty as both sides have similar confidence that they'll win. It seems like voters have made up their minds about Biden and don't think he's done a good job financially. This could definitely give Republicans an edge in the midterms, but we'll have to wait and see how it all unfolds. Thanks for tuning in today. We're diving into the world of politics with Joe Biden. Remember when he said, "If I win, I'm going to be the first president to say we're leaving Afghanistan"? Well, it looks like that might not be the case after all. In a recent interview with ABC's George Stephanopoulos, Biden clarified his earlier remark. He explained that while America is indeed withdrawing troops from Afghanistan, there will be 600 military personnel remaining in the country to ensure an orderly process and prevent chaos. This announcement comes after a letter sent by General Austin Scott to all troops stationed in Afghanistan. The letter confirmed that 600 military personnel will remain on the ground once the withdrawal is completed, although their mission is still unknown. So, it seems Joe Biden has some explaining to do about his previous statement. According to reports, some Democratic officials are suggesting that Joe Biden should consider stepping aside as the nominee for the 2024 presidential election and give another Democrat a chance to take the reins. Now, let's be clear here, Joe Biden has not made any official comments on his potential run for 2024 yet. However, this speculation has been fueled by his recent trip to South Carolina in an effort to drum up support from the Democratic base. So far, there hasn't been any major pushback from Biden or his team on this idea. But what do you think? Do you think he should give someone else a shot at running in 2024? And if so, who do you think would make a great candidate? Did you know that there's a new player on the scene who wants to take on Trump in the upcoming 2024 presidential elections? That's right, a fresh poll has revealed that a whopping 49% of rank-and-file Democrats are all for this idea. Who is this potential candidate, you ask? It's none other than Kanye West. That's right, folks. Kim Kardashian West recently shared with TMZ that her ex-husband, Kanye West, is planning to run for president in 2024. Now, let me ask you something. Would you be down to vote for him? It's interesting to note that while both Democrats and Republicans have concerns about President Biden's health, the groups who are more likely to say he shouldn't be the nominee are those who identify as very conservative, and those who doubt his mental and cognitive capabilities. On the other hand, Democrats who support Biden's policies and identify as quite liberal are less likely to say he shouldn't be the nominee, even if they have doubts about his health. Now, it's important to remember that discussing someone's health is a sensitive matter, especially when it comes to a sitting president. So, let's keep the conversation respectful and focused on understanding different perspectives. According to a new poll conducted by Quinnipiac University, a whopping 95% of Democrats and 83% of Republicans are now paying closer attention to the upcoming elections. This shift in focus is largely due to former President Trump's indictment and the subsequent debate surrounding it. The debate has brought the presidential race front and center to the minds of registered voters. Now, 59% of registered voters say they are thinking a lot about the presidential race, up from 48% just a few days ago. Interest has risen among Democrats and Republicans alike. As we continue to follow this developing story, it's clear that Americans are more engaged than ever in the 2024 presidential race. So, stay tuned for more updates on this exciting political journey. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. Until next time, stay informed and keep those civic duties rolling.